So I had the opportunity to talk to Nathan Crawford, 22-year-old professional motocross athlete. It was a really cool chat and a little bit of a throwback for me because I've known Nato since he was 10 to 12 years old. I actually grew up racing motocross with him and used to travel with him. I know his dad really well. They used to build my supercross tracks at my house or my mum's place. It was really cool to chat and throw down and hear his journey to becoming a professional athlete and the struggles to get there and what you have to do to get to the top. I mean, I personally tried to make it as a professional motocross athlete and I didn't have it in me. And I 100% admit that. It's a super tough sport to be at the top of that game. And, anyone that makes it as a professional athlete or, even in the business world, it's tough. It's not an easy game and you have so many ups and downs through the journey. So, which, I have had personally as well. So to getting to chat to him and learn a little bit more about his story and how he's grown up and to make it to the level he's at today was rad. So yeah, check it out. And thanks for listening to the next episode of the Jason Daniel podcast. And hey, don't forget to comment, like, share it if you get any value, or even to the point of, sharing your feedback so we can improve this and keep growing the podcast and sharing the community and inspiring people to chase the vibe. I was thinking before? I was in the shed the other day and I still got your number plate. Remember when you borrowed my bike in 2009 or 10 for the Aussie titles?
Oh, Murray Bridge?
Yeah.
I remember.
I still got your plate in the shed. Well, my plate, you gave it back to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's 199.
Yeah, I think
it's sitting in my shed.
Yeah, well, I went to the Aussie titles. I think we had to run a number 4. I don't know what number I ran, but yeah, we would have put 199s back on there when we gave you the bike back.
Yeah. I still got the side plate.
I think that was the second or third time I rode a 250F in my life, and I went straight at the Aussie titles.
I think it was. I think you'd practiced on my bike a couple of times and then said, can you borrow it? I think Mickey was like, can we borrow it?
I actually remember the day that I first ever rode a 250F, and it was your bike. It was at Stanmore.
Was it really?
Yeah, and I remember the coolest thing ever to me when I was a child, because I was always riding 2-strokes and whatever, was the sound of a limiter on a 4-stroke.
Yeah.
So I just remember
getting rid of those valves.
Yeah, just riding your bike around just at Stanmore, just on the limiter everywhere. Yeah. As a 10 or 12-year-old, I don't know how old I was at the time.
Mechanics used to love that.
Yeah.
I had my bike back with blown out valves from hitting the limiter.
Yeah, that's
really?
it.
That's cool. I remember. How did you go that Aussies?
Everything was going good actually until I had it cartwheeled. Lucky I didn't cartwheel your bike. I cartwheeled my 105 through the whoops, and after that I was just done. Like, it was mudder, and yeah, I was too small on those big bikes at the time, so I didn't really do too well. But
how old were you then?
I think I would have only been like 13 or 14 or something. It was quite young.
Because I think I was. How old are you now?
22.
Yeah. So I must have been 22.
Shit.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, so I was quite young. But yeah, like I could barely even touch the ground. I was using oversized blocks to do starts and stuff like that.
I remember that. I think you had to lower it a to it, didn't you? Like you had to run the sag a bit lower on the bike.
Yeah, we did heaps of weird stuff. I had super low bars on the things so I could stand and be somewhat comfortable.
Yeah, your dad was a weapon.
Yeah, he still is.
Yeah, I know. I remember traveling after my broken wrist, I remember traveling to the Aussie Queensland titles. I think it was at Roma. And my first race back, and I jumped in the van with you guys, and I was sleeping in the back of the van. Yeah, and I had a shit race. It was my first race back, and Mickey's like, "Mate, just have a beer and chill out." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, that sounds like him. Yeah, man. There's only some key races I remember. I don't think I remember doing the Roma races. There's not many I remember, but yeah, we had some good times in the van for sure.
Yeah, it was fun. I remember traveling that van a lot.
Yeah, it's still kicking.
Well, you remember? I mean. We haven't really even introduced you, but I mean, we'll get to that. But I remember, was it because I had remember when you started to learn how to ride Supercross when I had my track at home, and your dad built all the tracks. Like, it's crazy when you think back. Your dad built my Supercross track for us all to ride in my backyard, in Mum's backyard. We had the dam that would water the tracks. Yep. We had like I remember you're on an 80 and you wouldn't jump that double. I think it was like a 65, 70.
Well, that thing was massive back then. I think it was still even big for like you guys. Yeah, it was big.
Yeah, it was. It was big and it was sketchy. It was super tight.
I'm pretty sure actually, I think it might have even been your mum used to get up me because I was messing up the grass on the left-hand side because I would never jump it.
Yeah, probably creating this rut around the corner.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, were you there the day I broke my wrist?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there. Was it on the step on, step off, eh?
Yeah, it was.
Before you
Yeah.
head down the back. Yeah, that was gnarly.
Yeah, that was the last year I finished up racing, actually, 2010. I remember that. That was
Yeah.
a good day. Not that day,
Not
but
that, yeah.
it was fun riding with everyone. That day
Yeah.
sucked. The whistle was good.
They always are good.
And going to the hospital. I don't know what I said to my wife, Ali, but yeah, it would have been pretty funny.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, anyone that doesn't know, I mean, we're thrown down with Nato Crawford, who's actually a professional motocross athlete. He rides professionally full time. I've known him since I think he was 10, which is crazy. And to see how far his journey's gone has been super dope. So I thought, it'd be great to get him on the show and just talk about his struggles to becoming a professional athlete, what he's gone through to get there and the training regime. I mean, a lot of people probably don't realize, and, myself growing up racing motocross, and I wanted to make it as a professional, but I didn't have it in me. It's definitely a tough sport. I think people underestimate how tough motocross is. Anyone that doesn't. I mean, I was talking to someone the other day and they were like, I think it was Courtney in the office, and she's like, "Oh, what? Is it really that hard to ride a dirt bike?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. Your heart rate's maxing out. I mean, what would your heart rate get up to in a race?"
Well, in a race, it's a little different. Like easy high 190s, stuff like that. So like it's pretty high. And even in Supercross too, like we obviously haven't had a race in Supercross yet, but I'd say it'd be getting pretty close to 200 just because Supercross is so intense. So yeah, I'd say, high 190s to 200 it'll be pretty up there.
That's people don't underestimate the training involved. And I mean, tell us a little bit about your journey. I mean, when you started racing, how old were you when you got into it? Like, tell me a bit about your journey in a nutshell to where you're at now, to where it all started, bro.
I think it all started with obviously my dad. He did a bit of racing just as a bit of fun, and then obviously when I came, I guess my mum and dad had me, it slowed down a little bit, but he got me a bike. It kick-started from there. We had heaps of fun. I was always just riding around when he was out kind of practicing and stuff like that. I'd be riding around in the paddock, and then sure enough, we got a few sponsors on board, and then I think I went to my first race. I was like 6 or 7 and loved it. I don't think I did any good. Probably got smoked, but loved it. And then dad obviously loved taking me, and we just went on from there. And I never really was that good. Like I was okay. I showed enough promise obviously for my dad to keep wanting to go, and obviously he was super passionate. Yeah, super passionate about the sport and taking me. So I was never really that good until I turned about 13. It was my first year with Yamaha, and I just remember pretty much my dad. I didn't get told if the results were not up to scratch, then you didn't have a ride. But I knew that there was definitely a lot of pressure there to perform. And then it was
you're talking like you signed with like a junior factory Yamaha team at 13 too. So you're all with like the number one kind of
team in juniors. So I remember coming from Suzuki's, and I was like a 5 to 8 dude, and then I went to Yamaha, and they were kind of saying like, hey, if you do really well and you get the opportunity, because the next year I went into seniors, if you do really well you get the opportunity to go into our under 19s team. So I knew the pressure was there, and then it was just weird. I just obviously started riding good. I grew up a little bit. I got a bit taller, got a bit stronger, and then I just started winning races. And I remember my first year with Yamaha, I won the 250 title, like as the junior title, and then I got second in the 125s, and that was obviously promising enough for them to want me to go again. And then obviously just from there on, that's when I started taking it super serious. My training was super serious, my diet was really good, all that sort of stuff. And I guess. So
you really think it all kicked off when you're like 14?
Then. I think it was 2012 to 2013. I was like, all right, well, like I had a vision of the next 3 years of what could happen. I had a goal to work towards, and that's when it really started taking off. Yeah. And then I went to seniors, and obviously a few things happened, and I parted ways with Yamaha, and I went to Husqvarna on a 252 stroke my first year in seniors, and just like did really well. And it just so happened that first year in seniors in under 19s, if you finish inside the top 3, you just got to move straight to the 250 class. So I was like 16 or 17, and I just moved into the 250F class, and it's just like you just get thrown straight in the deep end. Then I went to a 250F, and then just pretty much I've just been in the 250F class ever since. I did 1 year in the 450s, and now I'm 22. We're in 2019, coming towards the end of 2019. And I'm with Yamaha again, and yeah, it's
Yeah, because
all
you're with
good.
Serco Yamaha.
Yeah, Circa
Yeah.
Yamaha now. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And I mean, how did you go this year in the nationals? Like, how was your year this year overall? And
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was not too bad. It was what I kind of expected. I wanted a little bit better towards the start of the year. I come into the year with a broken leg, a really bad broken leg too. Like, it was a super serious injury, and it took a lot to come back from. And I don't think anyone really outside of my little circle that knows how bad it was. I've obviously spoke about it a lot on social media and stuff like that, but until, if I showed people the x-rays and exactly how much metal's in my leg right now, then you wouldn't understand. So
wow. Yeah, okay.
but yeah, it was tough. I had 3 days on the bike before round one, 4 days on the bike before round one.
Is that it?
Yeah, and that's it. I had 2 weeks, but I could only ride like certain days. Like, I couldn't do 2 days in a row because my knee and leg just wouldn't cop it. So I had to like have a day of riding and then rest for 2 days and let it get better and let it not
And
be
were you
sore.
trying to do any training leading up to it, or you were kind of...
Yeah, well, I was doing a bit of cycling and all that sort of stuff, but obviously it's such low impact, and I could cycle like every second day or maybe every day sometimes, but I'd get to a point where I'd have to give it a rest, but as soon as I started riding, it was like training stopped. All my lower body training stopped. Couldn't really go and do any cycling because I was already too sore.
Yeah.
And then pretty much it was just an uphill struggle from then on. Like, it gradually got better, but slowly, but on the bike it never really got better because, as anybody knows who rides a dirt bike, your knees and your legs just cop it big time when you're riding.
Well, it'd be 80% lower body,
Not like, and when you if you jam it into a rut or something and you hit your leg on the ground, like, it's painful. And I remember for like even to now, like, it's good now. I can like let my leg hit the ground and it's fine. But for months, like, I'm talking 8 months or whatever, like, after my injury, I still couldn't. Like, I had to take my right hand corners a lot slower than my left hand corners because if I let my leg hit the ground, I'd be in strife. So
yeah, wow.
So I'm like...
And then how did you finish? Because you finished 4th in the series?
I finished 4th in the series. Yeah, simply because my last 5 rounds were good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the first 5 rounds.
And you won a couple of rounds as well?
Yeah, won some races.
That's awesome.
Won a round, and yeah, but I was always up there with the boys, which is good because like the first 5 rounds, I was pretty much getting my ass handed to me. So that was very hard to
give
take
you that
for me.
motivation to come back to.
Yeah. So it was a struggle, but yeah, I was just glad in the end to be able to win some races and just always be fighting with the boys. Like, it wasn't like it was a fluke for one race or whatever. I was always up there. So that was definitely good.
And mentally, that's tough. Coming back from something like that. How do you deal with with injuries? Because I know you've had quite a few injuries over the years, and knowing you for so many years racing and trying to make it to the level you're at now, which is phenomenal. How do you deal with injuries and the pressure of an injury to come back from that? Like, do you have like you're so driven and motivated, on and off the bike. How do you come back from that? Like, what's your kind of mindset like?
Well, for me with this injury particularly, it was touch and go for a while, and I'd always turn up to a race, and I remember turning up to the first round and I was just like, get through it, because I knew I'd only ridden 4 times or whatever.
And it rained, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a full mutter. So I was kind of like, this could be good, this could be bad, because obviously I couldn't really hit my leg on the ground or whatever.
Yeah.
But luckily enough, the track was that wet and sticky. It was so slow, and I could just ginger my way around, and like, it was pretty tough, but
yeah.
I got through it. And then, but yeah, like every single race, like first round to the second round, my expectations would get a little higher, but only simply because the way I felt during the week on the bike would get a bit better. But then I'd turn up to the race and just like, it's just so much different. Like, you're riding with obviously 30 or 40 other people.
Yeah.
And then, like, it was so tough. But for me, just to try and mentally get myself around it, like, it was just time and never losing sight of the goal, and just remembering what I've done in the past to try not to let it my injury interfere with what I could get to if I do all the right steps.
Yeah.
So it was just trying to make sure pretty much I didn't re-injure my leg, like trying to rush the process, I guess. And eventually it's just time, and then you get a bit more race experience under your belt, like after, because I had a full year off pretty much. 2018 was pretty much a year on the couch for me.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, I guess it just takes time and racing, and then like every gate drop, it's just a bit more experience, and then you get a bit more used to it, and you get a bit more comfortable. And
Nothing beats race experience.
Yeah,
or
that's
being
it.
Or throwing yourself in the mix and being a part of it than training.
So yeah, and then, but yeah, the big thing was just time for me, because I obviously did the first 5 rounds without re-injuring my leg, and then we had 7 weeks off, which was massive, because obviously 7-week break. I think that's the biggest mid-season break we've had like ever, I think.
Yeah, it's almost 2 months.
Yeah, so I took the 7 weeks just each week, and then make sure I got better each week, and then just did a whole heap of cycling. Obviously, is really good for your knees.
Yeah,
and yeah, it almost fixed me. Like 7 weeks, I just hung out with some different people, did some different riding, did some different training.
Yeah,
and then turned up to round 6, and I just felt like a different person. So it's a whole bunch of things, but I guess it's at the same time just making sure that you don't try and rush the process and re-injure your leg, and then that's eventually everything will just slowly get better.
Yeah, 100%. And then you said training on the amount of training you did off the bike. What's a day in the life of a professional motocross athlete look like? What's a day in the life for you?
For me at the moment, I get up in the morning. Supercross is a little better, like a little easier, but for me at the moment,
What's
like
a
you
routine kind of look for you?
get up in the morning. I've got my usual breakfast. So it's bloody 2 pieces of toast, rye toast, banana, honey, peanut butter. Anyway, we do that. Always got to get coffee. Start the morning with coffee. Straight to the track. We meet the boys at about 9 o'clock. We do all our motos.
And you mean the boys? Who do you meet?
Sorry, my mechanic, like our team. We kind of all meet at our team Supercross track.
So you have a full-time mechanic?
Yep, full-time mechanic. Yep. We meet everyone there, and we ride till about 12:30. Go home, bit of lunch, and then whether we go to the gym or go for a bit of a recovery cycle. And then after we do that, we might hang out for about an hour and just kind of simmer down from what we've already done through the day.
Yep.
And then if we're riding the next day, we go back to our Supercross track, because obviously with Supercross we do all hand watering. So we go back to the Supercross track, hand water the whole thing, and then
get a prep for the next day.
Whether you got to shovel some whoops or fix some berms or whatever, because obviously the tracks deteriorate a little bit.
Yep.
And then if you get all that done in a day, that's a good day. And then obviously dinner and bed, start again.
Solid. So. And you said you got your mechanic that works on the bikes. Does he take you, like, because obviously you guys have a practice and race bike, does he take your practice bike home and help you prepare it for the next day, so it helps you focus more on the job at hand? Like, how does that work?
Well, as I said, with Supercross it's a little easier. In motocross we pretty much always take our bikes, so after the day riding we'll go back to the workshop, clean up if it needs tires, just get the bike ready for the next day, and then we try and fit in a bit of training or whatnot before the sun goes down or whatever. But for Supercross at the moment, my mechanic takes my bike, he'll wash it, and then if it needs it, Supercross, like I said, it's so easy on the bike, sometimes you don't really need to do much, so you don't even need to change a filter. You just wash it, see if it needs anything, give it a look over, and then we're ready for the next day. And then that obviously gives me a good chance to go home, cycle, eat, just do everything I need to do, train, and get ready for the next day. So it's definitely good having your full-time mechanic there. For sure.
That's great. And Serco Motorsports, the factory team that sponsor you, Gavin, who's a legend. So they're close to you guys. So is that easy to get to and from, knowing that the team is so close to your house, because they're not far from where you live as well? Yeah.
Well, like I said, our Supercross track's only, I think it's 3 Ks from our workshop. So it's
that's great.
It's like just around the corner. So if you ever need anything, it's in the backyard pretty much. And so even if we need to go to the workshop, it's half an hour out of our day, really. Maybe an hour tops, and we still got time to do everything we need to do.
To keep riding. And
Yeah,
cool. And how long so when's round 1? So how many rounds as well are there in the Supercross this year?
I think there's 6 this year, 5 or 6.
Where do you travel to?
One is in Auckland. We got to go overseas once this year. We go to Melbourne, Adelaide. There's one in the Brisbane Entertainment Centre.
That'll be tight.
Yeah, that will be tight. First round too, so all the boys will be there. There's only 10 or 12 gates, so it's just going to be hectic. That first round's going to be hectic. But yeah, so I think that's the main ones. But that's going to be cool to travel overseas for a race. We never get to do that really for an Australian series.
Have you done that? Did you get to do that last year?
No, I was injured, so I didn't. They did the I think it's called the SX Open in Auckland.
Yeah.
They did it last year, and that was sick. By the looks of it, they sold out the whole stadium, so that was cool. And obviously, there's a lot of big names that come over for that race in particular, so that's going to be sick too. Hopefully, I get to go to that.
Yeah, cool. What's your goals? What throwing it out at you?
Well, usually when it comes to Supercross time, I'm always just got the mentality of just getting through it, staying safe, because Supercross is obviously super dangerous. But this year I kind of half surprised myself a little bit. I'm riding really good. Like, I feel like this is the best I've ridden Supercross ever in my whole life. So,
and do you feel like, you know, with the training you do off the bike, that helps a lot as well? Like because you're super fit in the gym. I mean, those photos on socials don't lie.
Yeah.
You know, and like, what kind of training do you do off the bike to prepare for that too? Do you lift a lot more weights preparing for Supercross?
I think, you definitely got to make sure you're strong. So I've been spending some time in the gym, just like making sure my strength is up to par, but also like from motocross to Supercross, your base fitness is so different. Like, so a lot of cycling for me as well, just keeping your heart rate at a certain heart rate for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Helps a lot too. But yeah, I think just the main thing for me this year was being able to start Supercross 100% healthy.
Yeah.
That way I'm not worried about any little injuries. It was coming straight off motocross, going straight into Supercross, and just being like I was fine, you know what I mean? I was 100% healthy. I was fit. So I wasn't, having to, I guess, build up to anything because I was already ready to go.
Yeah, cool.
So, I mean, my expectations are still to get through the rest of the year healthy, but I definitely think my results will be quite good, I hope. I obviously have expectations, but obviously at the same time, we're going to stay safe.
Yeah, high goals. But that's great. That's great. And I mean, social media, which is, the whole influencer marketing thing, social media is a big part to play. How much does, in motocross, social media play with gaining sponsors and, with your brand? Because it's changed so much in the years since, with factory teams, I've noticed. I haven't really been in the sport as much as I have over the last few years, but does social media play a big part for, for teams and sponsors and things like that within motocross now? You got a big following for, you're up to, I think, 35,000 on Instagram, and that's a large following.
Yep.
In motocross. What does that have to play with sponsors these days, and your obligations through social media to help promote those brands and really grow and what you do and love?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure like every team in Australia has a social media platform that everyone can go and find and click on and all that sort of stuff. So we all use, and teams especially use their riders and to help market their team through social media, because as everyone knows, not many people pick up a magazine anymore.
Yeah.
So the first thing they do is they jump on Instagram or Facebook or anything, and like if our riders are tagging our team, Serco Yamaha or whatever, and our following goes, oh look, the boys are at the track, they've tagged Serco Yamaha, and click on Serco Yamaha, and then you're straight onto their, it's instant, they're in their page. So it's like you don't have to go through and read a magazine. It's like everyone's on their phone every single day.
Yeah.
So social media is just like the biggest. It's like ridiculous. Like it's not the possibilities, but there's just so much you can do through social media and promote through social media, and that's why I think the teams love it, because if you're promoting their team for free on social media, because social media is for free, like it's
a free platform.
It's ridiculous. So it's good. I think social media is good for us too, because people who say I'm from Queensland, people who are from Melbourne or even overseas, don't see me every day. They can still see what I'm doing every day, because I'm obviously also very active on social media as well. So.
Yeah, which I think plays a huge important part to being an athlete or an ambassador. Social media is everything now to help, and you're promoting the brands that you've been able to do what you love, and they're helping you get out to do what you love to do every day, which is ride motocross professionally. So to be able to use a platform that is free to help promote it. The algorithm's always changing, so you've got to think of new ways to help get yourself out there. But yeah, it's interesting from different sports how they they use social media to help promote their brands.
Yeah, and not only that, like everyone knows, well, most people know, my following would know me as Nathan Crawford, the motocross rider, but at the same time, they can see what you do personally, like away from the track.
Yeah, we don't just ride.
Yeah, well, I don't race motocross. Like motocross is a big part of my life, but it'll only last a quarter of my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you guys or everyone who follows me gets to see what I do after that. And, while I'm not racing or riding during the week, like everyone can see what I'm doing just as a normal human being too.
Yeah.
So
And what
that's
else
cool.
do you do? What's your goals outside of motocross? What?
Well,
keeps you
at the
busy?
moment, my goals outside of motocross, that's a tough one because I still got so much motocross to go. Like
Yeah.
I still see motocross as being
You're just getting
massive.
started,
Yeah,
bro.
like I'm 22, so I got so much more motocrossing
Do you do any? I mean,
to
you
go.
cycle a lot.
Yeah, I
do
do a
any
lot of
cycling
cycling
races
and
or
stuff
anything
like that.
as well?
I haven't done any of that sort of stuff now, but other things that I do enjoy doing is like I love to stay fit. So like I love going to the gym, even if I wasn't an athlete.
Where do you train?
Fit Stop, Victoria Point.
Yeah,
So
dope.
if I wasn't an athlete, I'd still be there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's just something that I love to do. And like cycling as well, even if I didn't race, I still think I'd just go out on the social cycle with the boys. Like it's fun. So I definitely think after motocross, I'll still be quite active with my fitness and stuff like that. But also after my racing's done, I'd still like to be involved in the sport somehow.
Yeah.
Whether it be helping other people, guiding other people, giving other people tips or whatever, stuff like that. So obviously motocross is, my heart's in it. So after I'm done with it, I'll still like to contribute somehow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So,
That's awesome. And I mean, it depends how much you want to talk about it, but I mean, you get to ride professionally. I mean, what kind of money is involved these days from a professional athlete, or the opportunities? I mean, when we're talking to founders and get to talk to different people on the show, like, what kind of money is, available for a professional athlete to make if they can, if they're winning everything and doing really well, even to America, what's the money like, to be able to make for a professional athlete in motocross?
It's not too bad. Like, obviously, I'd say here in Australia, it's tough. Well, in every, like I've heard in every country, whether it's Europe or America or Australia, there's obviously key teams that offer you good money. And then, after that, it's a little tough. Like after that, you really have to love it to just do it for not much, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Not much reward.
And not that you get into it for the money side. I mean, it's,
for sure.
I've loved dirt bikes my whole life as a kid growing up, and did it because of the money. But it's when you get to do something you love and full time, it's interesting to know what kind of, what the opportunities are, so you can do what you love. And
well, if like you said, if you're doing it for a job and it's not just a hobby, then there's a small circle of like, area of place you could be in to make decent money. I'd say obviously you go overseas, you're going to make more money, but just here in Australia, like it's not too bad. Like if your results are up there, you're on a good team, you ride for a good brand, and your results are up there, like you can still do quite good. Like, do you know what I mean? Like you're not going to be living off the balls of your feet. Like you'll be doing okay. But like it's I wouldn't say the roof's a little lower here in Australia, but
it's just population too in Australia.
Yeah, sky's the limit when you go overseas. Like you hear of so many different people, and just little things. Like you hear of so many different people making big money off their championships. And like I've got friends over in America now. I got a friend, Jacob Hayes, and he lives there and races there like full time.
Yeah.
And like he tells me all these funny stories about like, people making money and, obviously I won't go into it too far, but just good money, like making real good money, like better than anything you'll find here in Australia. But that's obviously just like, obviously, as everybody knows, the sport's massive in America. The sport's massive in Europe. The sport is decent here. Like it's quite good here, but yeah, it's just...
and is that a goal for you to get to America? Like, is that
like, I definitely want to branch out. I want to go abroad, Australia. Yeah, so like that'll be my goals. I'm definitely looking into that for sure.
Yeah, cool.
But I mean, it's tough. Like coming from Australia to try and reach out to another country to try and get a ride, and and like you don't want to just go over there just for anyone. Yeah. Like obviously you've seen a lot of people go from Australia to race in Europe or race in America, and if they go for the wrong team, then it's just a waste of a year, sort of thing. So like there's so many different variables.
It's a tough gig getting over there.
Yeah, for sure.
The work involved to get over there to race. I mean, being a part of it for so many years, you watch, it takes a long time. It's a grind. People don't realize the work you got to put in. And I totally get what you're saying. It's not like you can go over there and if you want to do the best you can do, you want to try and find the right people to work with have the right, potentially even mentors over there to help you get to that next stage. Because as you said, it's all about being the right people.
Yeah.
You spend 6-7 weeks with the right people, training, riding, and then you come back stronger than ever for the next round for the last part of the series. I think that's a big part too, is being around the right people as well.
Yeah, well, you can't go off you can if you want. Like, you can try go off on your own, like go to a different country on your own, but there's so much involved. Like, over the last 2 years is where, or I've looked overseas more than just the last 2 years, but I've really been looking the last 2 years, and just and I'm haven't even got anything yet though, but even just what's involved at the moment, and like the last couple of years that I've been trying, it's crazy, and I haven't even got anything. Do you know what I mean? And you got to start taking into consideration like your visas and where you're going to live and who you're going to be with. Like, you got to know all these different, you got to know so many people. Yeah. So that you're not just going over there and you're like, okay, I'm here.
How am I going to train? How am I going to ride?
Where am I going to live? Yeah. Who am I going to train with? Like, what gym am I going to go to? Do you know what I mean? How much that gym's going to cost? Like, it's just ridiculous how much you have to take into consideration so that you're not just going over there and just wasting your time pretty much.
Yeah, 100%. And what are you doing? I mean, because you guys get a big off season, right? Like, what do you do in the off season? When the off season, I don't know how many weeks it is, but what do you do in the off season?
Off season's usually, it comes along at about end of October, November, December. Obviously, that's the period we get. So obviously, you got Christmas and all that stuff in there, and usually it's just hanging out with your mates, or maybe even a bit of traveling, like dirt bike related sort of thing, just like social traveling, and just hanging out with your mates. Just because obviously during race season we're so strict on what we eat, what we, like how much we train. Like, sometimes usually I'll take a little bit of time away from the gym, just hang out with friends, like just all sorts of different stuff that you just can't really do while you're racing, simply because it takes up all your time. So.
Yeah, you're 100% committed.
Yeah, for sure.
It's almost like you see where, I suppose whether it's AFL or rugby league, like when they're on. Everything is a strict regime. Yep. Same with motocross. People probably just don't get to see that side of it too much.
Yeah, well then after we do all that, come January time, you've got to, whether you've signed with a new team or you've renewed your contract with your current team, you pretty much start kicking things off January 1. That's when pre-season starts. So yeah, off season doesn't last long. So when you got it, you just have a bit of fun, just make it worthwhile.
Yeah, cool. And I mean, from a social media perspective, are you super approachable on there through DM, chatting to like the next generation of kids coming through? Do you do much coaching, like to help with the next generation?
I do. I'm super approachable on social media. Anyone can message me at any time, and I'm not going to be
dope.
What's the word? A prick about it. I'm gonna message you,
which is important. You
obviously sometimes I won't always get back to you straight away, but I'll eventually get back to you. And if I don't, swing me another message, because it's not like I just might have forgot, or I'm so busy caught up in what I'm doing that it just sometimes just goes straight over my head. But super approachable on social media, and I do love coaching. I do, and I do a bit of it. Like, I've had a few people hit me up recently, and I would love to go. Like, I've had someone messaging me about it like the last 2 weeks, and I'd love to go at the moment. Just Supercross, with pre-season Supercross, it's just everything's so hectic at the moment. But I will do a fair bit of coaching once Supercross is over. Yeah. In our off season as well, because obviously we got like Monday to Friday. We pretty much I can't really do much. Like all my mates are working and stuff like that. So I'm just hanging out. So that's when I'll do some coaching and things like that. But
and do you have? I mean, like you said, all your friends are working, so you're really in the circle. Like, you're the only one that's a professional athlete around that, and a lot of your other friends have day jobs as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm friends with like a few of the boys in the sport, obviously. In our sport and in our class and whatnot. But
a lot of them
when I grew up,
the area,
when I grew up, like as I was growing up through, my whole career of racing, I was never really friends with. I was friends with people who were involved in dirt bikes, but were kind of just like the weekend warriors, like loved the weekend racing, but didn't do it professionally, because then it just becomes a contest all the time, sort of thing. So like all my friends,
and it's tough to do it professionally.
Yeah, and all my friends were just like, they were involved in the sport or loved riding or did it as a hobby, but it was just always like, and obviously now that we've grown up, they work Monday, Friday, and I'm training Monday to Friday, riding Monday, Friday, and once all that stops, they're still at work, and
Yeah,
I'm just probably playing PlayStation or something. You know what I mean? Like, it gets a bit boring.
Or Fortnite, right?
Yeah, the Fortnite grind. So,
And I probably didn't get to ask this. I mean, anyone that's into motocross listening to this, what's your favorite track in Australia? What's your best track, whether it's motocross or supercross changes a lot, but motocross track?
I'd probably say the one in Western Australia, Wanneroo.
Oh, yeah.
Just simply because I love the sand.
Yeah.
And it's just super gnarly, like down and in and out of quarries. Like, it's sick. Like, it's pretty gnarly. If anyone hasn't seen any videos of it, it's definitely look it up. It's mad. I've only ever ridden there once in my whole life. Oh, sorry, twice. I've ridden there twice in my whole life. And then the second time I won my first ever MX2 round overall. It was sick. I love the joint, love the sand.
I think I might have even been there. Yeah.
Love the sand. Yeah, Wanneroo, it's a sick track for sure.
Yeah, it's a good track.
Yeah,
it's a scary looking track. It's fast.
Yeah, it's like the it's the Australian Lommel, if you want to call it, of Europe. You know what I mean? Like, it's just super rougher than anything you'll see, and just gnarly, big bumps. Like, it's just mad.
Yeah, that's cool. And I suppose a question to kind of give back to like your community is, what kind of advice, could you give to the next generation coming through? I think it's probably underestimated the fact of how hard you need to work to become a professional athlete. It takes a long time. It's a lot of struggles. There's a lot you go through. I mean, you're probably talking yourself a little bit, because to get to that level is tough. You know, I mean, I've gone through it. I know how hard it is. I wish I could have made it, but it wasn't for me. What kind of advice could you give to the next generation of kids coming through or trying to make it as a professional, whether it's motocross or athlete? Like, what advice could you give to them?
I'd just say, with whatever you're doing, I'd say have fun with it for a certain amount of time, because I've known a lot of younger kids in my time. Like I said, like, I don't just have my friend groups, not just my age. Like, I'm still friends with a lot of people that are a lot younger than me, and I've seen so many people, like, they're only still like 15 and 16, and you got to start taking it serious by then. But don't like, you're still a kid then. You still have to have fun, because I've seen too many kids burn out, and then they just, by the time they get 17 and 18, where that's where you really go for it, they're burnt out and they hate the sport, sort of thing. So definitely have fun with it until you're about 17 or 18. Like, obviously take it serious, but keep it fun. Ride with your mates or whatever it is, whether you want to be a professional skater, like, just skate with your mates, do everything, but have fun and try not to lose the fun. Like, even now I'm 22 and I train my ass off and I ride all the time, but I'll still go off and do things that are just like fun. Like, I remember before Coolum, the last round of the motocross, everyone's out motoing, and me and one of my mates just went for a trail ride. Like, it's just, you got to somewhere keep the fun in it. And I definitely think if you do that and you don't try and, obviously you got to know how much, and you got to listen to your body too. If you're starting to feel, run down or whatever, don't think that just because your mates or whatever are out there busting out motos that you have to be out there. Like, if you got to listen to your body, have fun, keep the fun in it, and you'll definitely go a long way. And obviously, you need to have a network of people around you that are positive for what the vision or the goals you're trying to get to. And I definitely think you'll make it for sure. Cool.
Hey, well, it's it's been dope watching your journey. It's crazy knowing you from a Grommy to where you're at now and how much you've succeeded. It's rad, man. Congrats. I'm excited to see how you go on the Supercross too this year.
I'm looking forward to that.
Good luck, brother.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Good times.
Thanks for having me on the show.
It's all right, brother. Thank you.